Hi there. This is H. Victoria Harper Atkerson. I'm an author and a writer, and we are talking about the first book. The first book you write, what do you do? How do you do it? And we reviewed making decisions about being a writer and then making a decision about what you are passionate about. Those are the things you want to write about, things that you feel are important to you. Because if it's important to you, you make it important to your reader. Okay, so then we're going to do an outline. Then we're going to make some decisions. Who are you going to write about? Where are you going to write about? Where are you going to put those characters in the story? What city or what situation are you going to put them in? And then you want to think about the time element. What era are you going to write about? Are you going to write about the future, the present, or some part of the past? Be specific. Make these decisions now because this is like your preliminary structure for your future writing process. So these things you want to do. Now, once you've chosen your characters, uh, list your main characters. You want to write out a summary of the story you want to tell. A summary, I think, should be a good 10 to 15 pages, a good summary of a novel that you're going to be writing. 10 to 15 pages. And then sit down, look at that summary, and think about all the supporting characters you want to make that story real. You may have developed some already when you're doing your preliminary writing, but you want to think about the characters and what's going to make the story more dynamic or support the characters that you've already written. Then you want to just think about that story. Think about your timeline. You're going to take your outline, your summary, and your timeline, and you're going to go over your summary, reread it, look at it, and then go back and develop it, including some information about the location, some information about the time period you're writing on, and just bring in all the elements that you research, bring that into the picture. Then rewrite that whole story. Don't worry about making chapters or anything like that. Just write. It's just let yourself purge all the information that you found and get it into a line into line as far as the storyline is concerned. Do that. Once you've done that, you should have about 200 pages at least when you finish with this process because you're going back into that original story, which started out to be 15 pages. You're going to elaborate on any and everything in that story and just write out that first 250 pages. That's your first draft. Okay? See how easy that is? You've done it already. Now, what I want you to do is sit it down. Don't look at it for a couple of days. Just forget about it. Okay? Now, the next thing you want to do is to find an objective person, somebody you really trust, someone who can tell you the honest to goodness truth about what they have written, someone that's not afraid to hurt your feelings. And if they do, I need you to accept that because those hard, critical things that they tell you about your writing, because you can't think of this this piece of work as your baby. It's not a baby. It's writing. One thing about writing is created in private, but it lives the first time it's read. It lives out in the public. It lives out there. It doesn't live with you. So it's like a child. You raise it and then you send it out into the world. But this is your first launching of your baby out into the world. So you're going to find that person who is the most critical person you can think of, someone you have absolutely trust. Have them read it and give you some feedback. Don't read your work after that. Just let it sit down, write down everything that they've told you. You don't have to take notes if you don't want to. And then think about what they said. What I need you to do now is to think critically about your work when you go back and read it. Read it with that person's view in mind and think, are these things legitimate? Or are these things you want to accept about your writing? It's your book. You decide. They can make suggestions. You can take them and not take them. It is up to you. This is your child that you're raising. You're writing this into existence. So You don't have to take anybody's opinion if you don't want to, but it's always wise to listen and consider everybody's opinion when they offer them to you, and don't take it personally. This is a work in progress, and it needs to be analyzed. Because one of the great things about having a husband who was in my life and he was able to read my work, he was like, he would tear it up. And sometimes the things were like, that's a little harsh, but it was true. Most of it, for the most part, that objectivity is what you need in order to make your work livable, because other people can see it more clearly than you can. You're personally attached and you have to divorce yourself emotionally from your writing. That's the first stage. Don't think about it for a couple of days. Go somewhere, go to a movie, do anything. Don't think about your writing. Then I want you to come back and sit down and review everything that you have written, all your interviews with people, all the research you've done. Don't read the copy. Just read all the notes that you've done, all the research. Read everything. And then just take a vacation. Take it easy. Go get your nails done or go get your hair cut if you're a guy, Hang out for a few days and don't worry about it. That story is going to be working mentally in your mind, whether you know it or not. And just consider it. Keep a pad by your bed. I tell all writers to keep a pad by your bed, because the most creative time, I think, when you're writing is when you are aware that you are still in bed before you open your eyes. Don't open your eyes. Just lay there. Think about your writing. I think that's the most creative time of your life. Sometimes you get a flood of things that you want to put in your writing, a flood of ideas that just occur at that moment. It's like a real magic time, either before you go to sleep or when you wake up. Don't open your eyes when you first are aware that you are in the present. Just lay there. Think about your book. Think about your characters and let it go. Sometimes you're driving in your car or sitting on a bus, ideas will come to you. That's why it's always good to have a pen and a pad with you. Or if you're very good on your computer or your laptop, you can jot things down. But I find it easier to just take a pad out, jot it down, keep it by my bed no matter what, because it's amazing what comes out in your dreams and as a result of your dreams. So take that as a real good tip, because that's really the most creative time that you have. I mean, just it's amazing the insight you have on your writing and your characters or your situation that you're writing about. So take that little hint. It's a really a good one, and you'll find it useful. Next time, we'll get a little bit into the character development, because I think this is one of the most critical things you can do. And I need you to do this before you start writing your second draft. Think about character development. Think about that character. You're going to write it. Say you got two main characters. Let's look at those two main characters. And let's make them a man and a woman, okay? Next time, we're going to get into some details, and it'll be fun, okay? Now, you take care. Enjoy, like, your holidays, and we'll be back to talk some more, okay? Take care. God, I forgot to say love to you.